Good morning, guys. Happy Monday for the third time of me trying to record this. I keep sneezing. I can't get rid of the sneezes. Uh, but happy Monday. A little late because of that, but here we go. All right. Question for you. Have you given any thought making any plans for your family to move in with you? I'm not talking in a full-blown SHTF situation. uh, you know, the world collapses, whatever it is, you need your mag around to protect yourself, guard duty and guns and all that sort of stuff. No, I'm talking about for regular, if we call whatever we live in right now normal is. I'm not talking about the lazy millennial who got his degree in, you know, Latin American dance for transsexuals or something like that. No, I'm talking about your responsible children or your aging parents. Have you thought about made provisions for the very good possibility that that conversation is going to come up in the near future about, Mom, can I move back in? Honey, can Dad and I move back in? Move in with you. Have you given any thought to that? There's a good reason why. You go back to the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and a lot of you can probably relate to this. I know Mrs. P can relate to this. I can relate to this of three generations living in the same household. When I was a kid, it was me, my brother, my parents, and my grandfather after my grandmother died. Okay. We all lived under the same roof. Why? Because aging parents need to be taken care of, or children need to, be a great concept if children were raised with two-parent families in this country anymore, wouldn't it? Yes, and I speak that as a divorced father. But we're rapidly heading back to the multi-generational household. And it's not because of anything other than Joe's economy. It's not being lazy. I mean, I'm talking about your productive adult children needing to move back in. I mean, reasons for parents moving in with their kids, that's as old as time itself, okay? They need somebody to watch them, take care of them. Sometimes as people get older, they're not quite as able to take care of themselves, either physically or medically. But when your adult children, your healthy 20-something, 30-something children need to move back in because they can't get ahead in the world, not by any fault of their own, but because of the economic reasons. I want to give you this. Numbers just came out this morning, all right? Or not this morning, the end of last week, but I just got the whole report this morning. Foreclosures in the United States, numbers came out for the month of May. There were, get this, 35,196 more foreclosures filed in May. Now remember, foreclosure process takes a while. And, so it's not like, they foreclose on your house and by the end of the week you're out. I mean, you got to go through courts and everything like this. It's a 3 to 6 month process. 35,000 new foreclosures were filed in May. That's up 14% since May of 2022. Or in other words, somewhere around another 5,000 more foreclosures in May of 2023 than in May of 2022. This is what's going on with the housing market. This is a number Joe can't fudge. He can't change the items in inflation to make it look better. They can't go from a 24-ounce box of cereal to a 20-ounce box of cereal and say, look, the price hasn't changed. They can't mess with this number. People aren't paying the bills. People aren't paying the bills. They're getting foreclosed upon. You think about the last thing how desperate people are. The last thing that doesn't get paid is probably food. The second to last thing that doesn't get paid is the house. People will turn off the electricity, turn off the cell phone, turn off the cable, get the car repossessed. All that will happen, and they will still try to keep their house. Now they can't keep their house. I mean, there's always been bad credit and people foreclosed upon for whatever reason. Job losses, some is irresponsibility, some is bad luck. Okay, not saying that everybody gets foreclosed upon is a deadbeat. I'm not saying that at all. But there are a lot of good people who are getting foreclosed upon because Joe's economy is chewing them up and spitting them out. We see stories all the time about companies laying off and all this BS. Oh, the job market's doing well. Yeah, right, because people have two. I'm a Walmart greeter by day and a barista at Starbucks by night. I mean, but you're employed. Let's take a look at the underemployment rate. Family members are moving in with other family members, not because they love each other so much, but for economic reasons. Okay. I ask if you've given any thought to this, if you've making any provisions for this, because we've all had house guests. Family comes over for Christmas, family comes over for Thanksgiving, whatever it is, and they stay for 4 days. And at the end of the 4 days, you go, okay, back to reality, little peace and quiet, back to my normal routine. Now imagine that 4 days never ends. Okay, those people are going to be living with you for the long haul, for the long term. Have you given thought to it? Do you have the space? You may have to make the space. Well, gee, Mom and Dad, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and I have my 2 kids. I know, but we need to move in, honey. So now you got to give a bedroom to your parents. You're keeping a bedroom, and now your kids are sleeping on the couch. This is where it comes to. It's not like, oh, gee, you know what? We'll all go in together and buy a bigger house. That's not, you're taking what you have. I remember looking at my grandparents' house, the house where my dad grew up, and we were talking small row house in Chicago. Nothing extravagant whatsoever, but you made it work. We've gotten spoiled in the United States, there's no question, where everybody has their own place. That's a relatively recent phenomenon, maybe the course of the last 50 years, and that's about it. But give that some thought as to what your plans are when the knock on the door or the phone rings and says, Mom, I need to come home. What's the matter, honey? I can't afford to pay my electric bill because Joe screwed that up. I can't afford to rent an apartment because interest rates are so high. I can't afford to buy a house because interest rates are so high. I can't find a job, Mom, that pays well because Joe's managed to destroy the economy. He shipped all the jobs, not only Joe on this one, shipped all the jobs to China. What do? I need a leg up. This could be a long-term phenomenon, guy. And it's something that you need to consider, because do you have the space? Do you have the will? We all love our kids and we do anything for them. We all love it. Well, I won't say this, but most of us love our parents, okay, and would do about anything for them. But how far are you willing to go when the U-Haul truck pulls up in the driveway? Pinball out.